Wherever we go, we bring with us who we are, and that place is transformed by what we bring, and in turn, that we are transformed by this place. Ms. Binet will explore how this transformational exchange takes place, a process enabling us to realize our oneness and to love life as it is, always new, flowing, unpredictable, and mysterious. So please give a warm welcome to Noris Binet.
We don't know that much about our true history. How is that we survived and the others didn't? How that we became to be who we are fully. But today we know that we are in a very unique bifurcation where we can go either way. We could survive, or we can end as many other species did. It depends on the choices that we do today, individually and collectively. Most of us have made the choice of moving not only from the two first world countries where everything functions, where technology really is well advanced, and things run smoothly in most of the daily endeavor. You know, you call, things work, road work, the light doesn't go out, the internet doesn't fail, and one of the richest democracy. Even places where women are advancing in their rights, and the disparity with men is beginning to be diminishing. And we are right to a country who is full of beauty. A paradise, you know, like a paradise climb, we can see how we can thrive here. Great cultural richness. Yet, many things don't run smoothly. Sometimes you don't have light, you don't have internet, it's not perfectly efficient. But why did we make that choice? Maybe part of that choice is the result of the direction that we would like to take for humans to survive. Maybe we are here as we aging, looking for a way of living that is not moving too fast, that it isn't about economical growth and unlimited technological demands. Maybe we are here to be able to breathe in from what is left from an ancient culture that still preserves a sense of connection with the earth, where human contact is at the center of life instead of efficient use of time. Perhaps this place offers us a way to live within human scale. I don't know if some of you have tasted that, how important sometimes for humans is to live within human scale. And when I talk about human scale, it means that everything is in proportion with my body, with my height, with my view. That you feel that you are part of everything that is happening, the center of it. Everything is designed. That chair that you're sitting, it has been designed for the human body scale. Where to sit and how long will be your legs and you know that when a chair is not well designed, it's uncomfortable. You know, you cannot reach the floor, your back is off. So like that, everything, the size of the streets, the building that you go in, and everything. The proportion of the buildings, the amount of constructions, you begin to feel that you navigate where your body is part of everything. So, what we bring with us? I think that what we bring with us is what happens when the culture is moving too fast. And maybe reach to the top of efficiency and pace, but perhaps forgot something along the way. And in many ways, many of us are here to remember what it's like when my humanity is more important than progress, building, technology, etc. So it's a very interesting, as a cultural broker, I am very interested when two cultures meet, whatever they do, in any place, because in that process, something takes place that sometimes not everybody become aware of that. So one of the aspects that is important to look, what happened to us when we come in, but what happened to the culture, to our host culture? What happened to them? A part of having more financial resources and seeing their town being more modernizing, what do they get into this interaction? And one of the important things that happens is that the host culture begin to wonder, who are we? Immediately you come in contact with another culture, it looks like that's the movement that we go, who am I? Where am I coming from? Because we begin to compare with the other. And so it's a very interesting evaluation that begin to take place in this interaction, not only about their own identities, but where they come from. Because who arrive bring their stories. So, and sometimes they lose their own story in their interaction with the influence that comes from outside. They asking questions of their own values. What kind of values do we have? They ask, how is our life? Is our life better, worse, or not? What holds their community together? What is the glue that made them to be a host culture? Someone who is planted, rooted, and receiving. So these interactions are very, very fascinating. And one of the things that is happening right now as I move through communities is that a whole generation is realizing how the environmental, self-sustaining place that they grew up is disappearing in front of them. They loosen it. And they find themselves trapped and wondering, what happened to us in this process that we engage? It looked like the places where they used to go to plant the milpa, the corn, is become a building. So it's very interesting because it's almost like suddenly a group of younger people like wake up and begin to say where I was, what happened here, what we were doing where this took place. So it's very, very interesting to see their burst of investigation. They like waking up to this overwhelming feeling of feeling sometimes frightened, impotent, and sad, because they feel that they're losing the well-balanced environment where the rains were abundant and water was available everywhere. Now they are remembering and rescuing the story of Ajijic. How it happened that Ajijic became Ajijic. And the story goes this way. There was a land many years ago that was named Teopantlita. And the center of this community was between El Cerro Colorado y El Alceseca, west from where we are. The king was the first Huitlatuani Cascalotzin of the Aztec. And his name means venerable crow. So this king, who is an Aztec empire, who really dominated the whole region, have a daughter. And this daughter was a beautiful princess, like all the princes are. And her name was Xochipilli. Xochipilli means small flower. A very delicate, beautiful, small flower princess. Frequently, during the summertime, she disappeared. Nobody knew where she was. And all her doncellas too. So finally, the king decided to find out what's going on with her daughter and send her vassallos to look around. So finally they came back one day and said to the king, you have to come. You will find where she's going. So he walked up and down until he came close to what right now is Venustiano Carranza, between Juarez and Marco Castellano. Colón all the way north. So when he was coming closer, he could hear a sound. And that sound was a mixture of running water and laughter. As he approached, he can see that his daughter is actually bathing with her doncella as they play and laugh in one ojo de agua, in a manantial, a spring of fresh water that cascade all the way from the north part of Colón all the way to the lake. Everything was surrounded by big trees and everything was lush. So he was so taken by this beauty of this place that he was impelled to name it. And he did. And he named it Ajijic, which means agua que se derrama riéndose. Water that spills laughing. Water that cascades down laughing. But this land was inhabited by the indigenous Nococas. And obviously, after the Cacalcin king discovered this neighboring site, then he decided to not own it, but to embrace it with the people who live here. And that is how the name remained. The Cocas and the Cascanes unite in a precisely wonderful place. Today the spring is no more. The Cascane and Cocas descendants are still here. They are our host culture. They are trying to rescue their origin and remember who they were before. And one of the important rituals that was performed until 2008 in this area, as has been reported by the Francisco Vladimir Diaz Copado in his thesis, was a ritual where not only invoking Tlaloc, the celestial waters, Calchihuihuitliquet, the woman of spilling water, and Miquiquiquali, a fish woman, deity of the guardian. But in this ceremony, what they're doing as well is that they are asking for the union and the bond of the Cascanes and the Cocas. And in 2008, they adding, when they finished the ceremony with the smoke in every one direction to give thanks for what we're receiving, that the foreigners living in Ajijic unite with the Mexican to protect the land that is yours as well. So I found this very, very amazing and wonderful to see how ritual have the capacity to go beyond our narrow mindset and enter into a place where we can unite, where we can recognize that this earth where we are now is ours too. Many of us have houses, live here, and own land, and that makes us part of this culture as well. So in this ritual that is taking place, and I suppose that it still is, there is a call from the Indian Cocas and Cascane that are in a very particular bifurcation where they want a union because they know that the only way to preserve the heritage of this land is that we unite, that we come together physically or symbolically to preserve what is still here before that is too late. So I found this really very profound. The Cascanes were foreigners who found a precious water spring and named it Ajijic. The Cocas, who were already here, and Cascanes realized that they only could preserve this is a bond in ritual. Why in ritual? Because in ritual is where we enter to a dimension that is beyond time. In a ritual, we take one piece of clay, we turn into a vessel, and that vessel holds symbolically the blood of the ancestors. They create this little pot, and they put a little blood from each of the Cascanes and the Cocas into this little vessel. And then they will go into the lake and offer to the great goddess of the water. Because without water, there is no life. And this is maybe the bifurcation where we are today in Ajijic. That the preservation is about preserving water for every one of us. The Cascanes, the descent of the Cascanes, the descent of the Cocas, the descent of the Spaniards, and us, who come from many different cultures in a sense, but that we are here. And this land is not only the host land, it now becomes our land together. So the invitation of this is to realize that we can enact those rituals by ourselves. We could actually bring this awareness of owning what we already own. Yes, because we do. And in that owning, we could feel and decide that we want to preserve. The COVID-19 pandemic, among other things, shook us all the way to open our eyes to see what we couldn't see before. How many new things? We probably suspect how things were going. But this virus put us so close to knowing that death is a part of life and that is here, that we had to wake up to see things that we couldn't see before. What is really important for us? What we did discover during this time? We really discovered that our connections are so important, that we can see the flourish of Zoom and all this technology to help us, in one sense, to keep connected, to hear each other, to celebrate Christmas, to celebrate birthday through Zoom. So we can see that the core of our humanity is our connections with each other. The world stopped with a very important opportunity for us to turn in another direction. We don't know the direction that the world will be turning. But the truth is that when we go into a very high speed, it's impossible to turn in any way. We have to slow down. And we have to stop. Excuse me. It's a lot of pollen. This is to be nature. So we pay a price. So any place that we go in, very fast, and we want to turn, we have to stop. And that is what the world did. Because when you're moving too fast, and you try to even stop, it will be a lot of jerking. And that happened all over the world. Every different country did it differently. But in the stopping, the opportunity that takes place is that we are able to renew ourselves. here in Ajijic, we have an opportunity to see what is possible by bonding psychically, spiritually, intentionally, with the descending of the Caucas and Cascade, to be able to preserve their habitat and ours. We know that anything that needs to be stopped or moderated or slowed down is always going to invite to a reaction. Do you remember what happened in March, April, when we all have to stop? How kicking, uncertain, upset, afraid were everyone. It was not easy. It was an overwhelming reality that made us feel that the world may be ending. During that time, I felt called to support spiritually many different group of people, beginning in Barcelona and Spain, where it was really intense what was happening to them before it even happened to us. And as the time passed, we keep a weekly Zoom time of gathering from Spain, Dominican Republic, United States, Mexico. And what I saw happen, and I call this initiation corona, because what I felt that we were being initiated in another layer of consciousness, that we were called to meet ourselves and see who are we and where we want to go and how we want to live life. Unfortunately, we finished our last gathering last Friday, and everyone who went through had come to a place of much more acceptance, much more gratitude, and much more aware of the treasures of this life. So that is my invitation for us today, that we simply realize what we have in this land with those people. My husband told me many times, I never imagined that I will be in a household where another foreign language will be spoken. Some language that I don't fully understand, and that is going to be spoken many times. Or that I was going to walk in a town where I couldn't understand what people say. Here is where we are. And it happened that is our land as well. I would like to close with this beautiful quote. The practice of recognizing the bliss of our ordinary life counteracts our unrealistic expectation of attaining eternal comfort. By expressing gratitude for the gift of life, we rest the heart and mind in a place of humility and grace. Thank you.